So pay attention to this. This pastor was born in 1913. He ran a Calvary Baptist Church in San Diego from 1953 to 1993. And he's a black pastor, and I've never heard anybody articulate and describe Jesus in such a profound way. This is what mission is all about. This is why we have to be on a mission. This is why we have to have this church video and come up with what mission we're going to do to go after people. And let this video inspire you, because I love when he says it over and over again. He says this. He says, do you know him? And this is what our mission is all about. Our mission is all about going out to everybody and introducing them to Jesus.
The Bible says, my king is the king of the Jews. He's the king of Israel. He's the king of righteousness. He's the king of the ages. He's the king of heaven. He's the king of glory. He's the king of kings. And he's the Lord of lords. That's my king. I wonder, do you know him? My king is a sovereign king. No means of measure can define his limitless love. He's enduringly strong. He's entirely sincere. He's eternally steadfast. He's immortally graceful. He's imperially powerful. He's impartially merciful. Do you know him? He's the greatest phenomenon that has ever crossed the horizon of this world. He's God's Son. He's a sinner's Savior. He's the centerpiece of civilization. He's unparalleled. He's unprecedented. He is the loftiest idea in literature. He's the highest personality in philosophy. He's the fundamental doctrine of theology. He's the only one qualified to be an all-sufficient Savior. I wonder if you know him today. He supplies strength to the weak. He's available to the gifted and the tried. He sympathizes and he saves. He strengthens and sustains. He's God and he guides. He heals the sick. He cleanses the lepers. He forgives sinners. He discharges debtors. He delivers the captives. He defends the people. He blesses the young. He serves the unfortunate. He regards the aged. He rewards the diligent. And he purifies the weak. I wonder if you know him. He's the key to knowledge. He's the wellspring of wisdom. He's the doorway of deliverance. He's the pathway of peace. He's the roadway of righteousness. He's the highway of holiness. He's the gateway of glory. You know him? Well, his light is matchless. His goodness is limitless. His mercy is everlasting. His love never changes. His word is enough. His grace is sufficient. His reign is righteous. And his thought is easy. And his word is Elijah. I wish I could describe him, but yet he's indescribable. He's incomprehensible. He's invincible. He's irresistible. Well, you can't get out of your mind. You can't get him off of your head. You can't outlive him, and you can't live without him. Personality, understanding, but they found out they couldn't stop him. Adam couldn't find any more in him. Terrorists couldn't get him. Death couldn't handle him. And the way was the glory.
I wanted to share that with you guys because as a pastor, as another preacher, you get excited when you hear someone describe Jesus in so many words. Each one of those words were powerful. Each one of those words outside of itself, by itself, is a whole sermon if you break it down. Each one of those words is a word of character, a word that describes who he is. It's a word of power. It's a word of authority. It's a word of might. It's one of those things that allows you and gives you the reason why we evangelize. It's the reason why we go out on missions. It's the reason why we share and introduce. Have you ever met someone? Do you know Jesus? Do you know him? Let me describe him for you. It fixes every situation that you're in. It doesn't matter where you are, what background you come from. It doesn't matter. Whatever your situation is, Jesus has something for everyone. It's a question of, do you believe it? But it's a question of, are you willing to take that step of faith? Are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and to believe in something that's indescribable, that's incomprehensible, something that you never had a companion that close, something or someone that cares about you more than anybody in the world has ever cared about you. It's more than just an introduction into a personality that you never met. It's a relationship that's transformed you. It's something that happens inside you that I can't explain it. I just know that it transformed me. It took me from drug addiction. It took me from violence. It took me from sexual immorality. It took me from those things. And he's the inner peace inside of you. And if you open up your heart, if you know him like I know him, if you want to know him, then I want to tell you something, that he's here for you to know. He's not some myth or some fable. He's an actual, real Son of God. He's a living being. How many know that we are spiritual? Just because we are occupying this body of flesh and blood and cells and bones and muscles is not who we are. We have a DNA that is a spiritual DNA, a DNA that is hardwired to God in the spirit, that sends our heart and our brokenness to God, not by mind, not by prayer, but by the spirit that God knows you. That's why he says he knows your heart. Your heart is the flesh. He says, I know that part of you, my daughter, my son, more than you even know. I know it better than you. He says, I know the thoughts of your mind. How can he know the thoughts of your mind? And that's the flesh, because we are connected to God spiritually. There is something that God has done to each and every human being, now present, living, and those that have passed. And God has implanted his spiritual imprint, his one-way connection to you, no matter where you are. And he's done that to all. That's how unique he is. That's how incomprehensible he is. That's how mighty and powerful he is. That out of all the people in the world, he understands you, Angel. He understands you, Daddy. He understands you, Jessica. He understands each and every one of us without even speaking a word. God understands how we feel. He understands the intent of our hearts, the intent of our mind, the thoughts that we wrestle against, the temptation that tempts us. And he says to you, I will never, ever tempt you with sin. He says, but I will make a way. And the only way that God can make a way out of your situation is to ask yourself, do you know him? Have you been introduced to a relationship with God? One that's not like any other human relationship you've ever had. Not like your parents, not like your wife, not like another human being of flesh and blood. We seem to always think that those things of the flesh and blood always dictate how we feel, what we do, how we act. But I've been trying to get to you. I've been trying to tell you that there is a greater side to this fleshly side. That is the front side. But on the back side, where all the working is, that's where God is. Working behind the scenes. Because all good things work together. That every problem has its end and its means. That every situation in your life is an opportunity. Every hardship in your life is an opportunity. Every disappointment in your life is an opportunity. I feel like I'm at a revival. This is what's in me. This is the passion of do you know him? This is what burns inside when you're able to share with someone and you're able to go into their hearts, wherever they are, and speak to them by the Spirit of God. And I just want to say this. Everything about God is real. Some of you doubt. Some of you lack faith. Some of you don't even know where you're at and what you're doing. You're just living day by day. You're just making it. Some of you are just working a job. That doesn't mean anything to you because there's no satisfaction at working that job. You're just surviving. Some of you are just existing just to exist so you can say you're alive. But some of you wish that you wasn't. Some of you wish that you had an opportunity not to be here. Some of you wish that life's too tough for me. Life's too depressing. Life's too lonely. No, 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 no! Life is alive. Life is refreshing. Life is challenging. Life is courage. Life is strength. Life is power. Life is trust. Life is being strong in the midst of your situation, no matter what your situation is. Life is believing that tomorrow's a better day, huh? Life is encouraging yourself that no matter what I go through, how I feel, I know I have life. Life is being, and being is existing. But what is that if you're not connected to the giver of life? It's empty. It doesn't matter that you say I'm a Christian. It doesn't matter that you come to church. Are you connected to God? Is He your supply source? Is He your power source? Is He your life source? Is He your doctor when you're sick? Is He your healer of your brokenness? Is He the one that you lean to when you can't understand and comprehend in this being? When this mind deceives you and lies to you, is He the one that you come to for clarity and vision and understanding? This is how we introduce people to Christ. But you can't do that if you don't have it. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. So here we are, finding our mission, asking God, what is our mission? Our mission in life is to understand that our purpose, the reason why we exist, is to serve God with all our heart, all our soul, all our mind, and all our strength. That's our purpose. But our mission in that purpose, our mission statement to God and His beautiful plan for mankind is to introduce, to tell people, to usher people in, to help them find their way to that same fountain that you've been drinking from, to that same life source that you have reconnected to. And our job is to go tell everybody about who Christ is and ask them, do you know Him? Let me tell you about the greatest friend I ever had. Let me tell you about the lowest point in my life when I was about to give up. Let me tell you this about my relationship that I have with God. Yeah, I've had plenty of relationships. Yeah, I've been divorced and remarried. I've had children out of wedlock. I've had my heart broken. I've been abused by men and women. I've been mentally abused, sexually abused. I've been emotionally abused. But I'm going to tell you something. I got a testimony. I got something that I can share with you. And what we do when we plant this mission, we take it on with the urgency and the expectation that every time you sow a seed, every time you tell someone about God, something is going to happen. And that's what we do. And that's what we're going to do in this church. And I'm going to lead by example. That was your sermon. That is just what's in me. And when God resides in you, that's what's in you. And we all are able to express it in different ways, but what I was doing mission. I was introducing the person, the God that I serve and love, and I was pouring out my heart and sharing with you about this great, great God of mine, that how real He is. And see, when you talk to people, when you go and draw people in and bring, You can't go up to someone. Hey, Jesus is over. How about you? You want to come to my church? Well, what kind of church you got? Just a church. How's you doing? You want to come to church? There's a story about you. But you don't make it about you. You make it about Jesus first. And then after you introduce them to that story, you tell them what he's done for you. See, our testimony is not greater than the testimony given. And so we got to make sure that we are able to share who we love, who we believe in. And you pick the time, you pick the say, well, one thing you got to do is you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to have your divine appointment. You can't be afraid to be about your mission. And as I finish this series, I'm going to give you all the illustrations of Christ doing mission. Last Sunday we had a beautiful illustration of Zacchaeus and how he brought salvation to all of Zacchaeus' family. Someone that was a tax collector. And there's many more stories that I want to share because I want to inspire you to do mission. Not go on a missionary trip. No, we're not ones. But I want to inspire you to be mission. That means wherever you go, if the opportunity presents, you do God's work.